This one's
Yes,
really
yes.
important, you guys. With so much happening right now, obviously, with coronavirus, it's easy to forget that it's actually an election year. And recently, our girl and former First Lady Michelle Obama, she decided to speak out on ways to make voting actually easier for everyone. Michelle posted this troubling picture from the recent Wisconsin primary, saying in part, no American should have to choose between their voice heard and staying safe.
Mhm.
Expanding access to vote by mail, online voter registration, and early voting are critical steps for this moment, and they're also long overdue. Now, Lonnie, when I saw this, I knew I just had to ask you. I know this issue is very, very, very important to you. And what are your thoughts on all of this?
Well, we're part of the When We All Vote organization, which is a nonpartisan organization spearheaded by Michelle Obama. And basically, after Wisconsin, there was an initiative that was actually put out by Senator Klobuchar to actually, it's called the National Disaster and Emergency Ballot Act. And what we're trying to do is make sure that voting is accessible, even though we have COVID-19. So we want to expand access to vote by mail. We want to expand access to early in-person voting, and we also want to have voter registration online. All of the states don't have this. So
That's what I was
basically,
going to ask you. How do we fix that? And in this time right now, how can we do that quickly?
well, hopefully, if you call your legislators, call your congress people, call your senators, this ballot act, the National Disaster and Emergency Ballot Act 2020, should help to incorporate those things because it doesn't make sense that we live in the United States. We should be able to vote no matter what. And we should be able to register online. So when we all vote is actually trying to work together with the senators to help this be possible. And all you have to do is go to whenweallvote.org and you can get more information. But really, it's just even without being in an organization, call your representatives and say, hey, I want to make sure that this act is passed because I don't care what party you are part of, you should be allowed to safely be able to vote. And, viruses are going to come and go. So we have to start working on this now because we're a democracy. Your president votes by mail all the time. He actually said it. So why shouldn't all of us, if we want to be able to vote by mail, plus have early in-person voting, early, so that you don't have to wait in those long lines. We have to put measures together for this, and this is the purpose for that.
And it's
Absolutely.
imperative, and it's imperative that we acknowledge that in Wisconsin, there were specific measures made to limit the Black vote. And this is a very
Suppression.
constant, common issue in this country. Voter suppression and the Voting Acts, right? The Voting Rights Act, et cetera, is still something that's continuously being fought for. So when we see that there's like um, a, a, a neglect to bail out the United Postal Service, like that is an essential piece of us being able to vote absentee in this time of quarantine. So we got to make sure that we're looking at big picture, and having Michelle create something like this is her saying, you know what, we may not no longer be in the White House, but we're going to still be a part of y'all making sure you get who you want.
Make the
in
right
White House.
decisions. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that is so true. I think anyone that is against this is completely taking the saying vote or die to another level. Like you should not have to choose between voting and dying. Like those should not be your only options. You should absolutely be allowed to vote. And please remember who you're voting for.
Oh, yeah.
And stick to
Absolutely.
it when you get into the ballot box. Don't just
Right.
tell all your friends one thing and then go in there and do something else because we counting on you.
But also remember that whoever ends up being the president will be the one in charge of policy and your health if this happens again. So just remember that who you're voting for will be the one deciding and figuring out how we deal with things like pandemics.
You have to be a registered voter first. So
Right.
that's why this initiative is so important. Online registration. Nobody can go out now. Most of the states are on lockdown. So to be able to have the online registration is important. Like I said, whenweallvote.org is about We're not about party affiliations. We're not telling you who to vote for. We're trying to get every American to be registered to vote. What I like about this whole organization is that it shows the power of the people. It shows the grassroots effort. And this is what we're supposed to do to keep our democracy alive. So thank you, ladies, for letting me talk about it.
No, it's so great.
Yeah,
It's so great.
Of course.
Are you kidding me? You're helping us. This is great.
Mhm.
Necessary.